Good morning, everybody. Welcome to EPM Live's latest installment in their webinar series. Today's topic is EPM Live Overview, Why EPM Live? My name is Jim Patterson, and I'll be presenting to you today. This is a webinar that is being recorded. You will get a copy of the slides made available to you and a recorded version of the presentation afterwards. So if you have folks in your organization that missed this, you can share that with them or you can refer to it later on. All attendees will be muted through the presentation, though there is a Q&A panel in GoToWebinar that you can ask questions, and our moderator will be happy to answer those questions for you. So EPM Live is a global leader in enterprise project portfolio and work management solutions. That is our focus. We're not a general systems integrator, we're not a general consulting firm. We really focus in these disciplines and solutions around them to help companies get better at executing in the areas of project portfolio and work management. We are also a one-stop shop, meaning we not only provide the solutions, we provide all the services, all the deployment assistance, and even offer online services for folks that want to go more global in the SaaS model. The idea here is that we provide very focused areas here with a lot of expertise in this subject matter over a long period of time. Just so you know, we're not a Johnny-come-lately. We really have a large customer base, over 5,000 customers in over 38 countries, so the marketplace is really accepted as well from a customer adoption perspective. From industry analysts and reviewers and other folks who review and rate these types of solutions, we've been very well received, most recently in the Gartner PPM Magic Quadrant, and we were happy to be there in the last 3 years. So the idea is we're getting good industry and analyst recognition across the board. And partners, especially internationally, are adopting our solution and representing it, reselling it, deploying it, and building services opportunities around it as far as VARs, et cetera. And that we get a lot of participation from a partner community around the world as well. So I think we're getting a lot of good feedback and a lot of good traction on all these fronts. A little bit about us. So let's talk about the benefits of PPM, or project portfolio management. Now, today's business value to be realized from PPM is far more than what we originally thought when we were really embarking upon PPM as a discipline. Strategic alignment of investments, improved resource management, and just visibility into business initiatives and projects were really the goals in the early days of making these things happen and adding value to an organization. Today's PPM solutions and the concepts and tools that we're going to show you today can actually help truly transform business execution across the board, not just in that narrow project realm. Also can provide executive stakeholders and project teams with new ways to collaborate, meaning new communication mechanisms, new social media, new communication tools that go beyond just database repositories and emails. And overall, just help us get work done more productively and effectively across the board, and really expand our definition of what we mean by work when we do that. Organizations that have successfully improved their PPM processes and put a tool in place to do that usually realize most or all of the following business benefits to a certain degree. They do get better strategic alignment across project portfolios, meaning that they're working on the things that best support the stated strategies of the organization. Better collaboration across organizational silos, meaning we can bridge the gap across silos that are either organizationally or systematically put in place for an organization so that we can actually run cross-functional projects and do cross-functional efforts within our organizations. Also, improve decision-making and accountability. These systems build really rich sets of data that give us a lot of information, a lot of dimensions of projects and work and portfolios so that we can actually make more informed decisions and have more timely information to make decisions at a time when we can still have some impact. Also, because of the business process automation and workflow capabilities that are in these tools, we can really streamline PMO and other processes and also put consistency via templates and methodologies in place so that we can have consistent delivery and deliver in a more efficient, streamlined manner with less wasted time. Overall, you put all these things in place, improved organizational productivity usually results. So if a PPM process and tool is easy to use and adopt, it will enable teams across organizational silos to collaborate on, let's just say, project and resource managers in a functional matrix to be able to collaborate better on project staffing, the idea of requirements versus fulfillment on resource requests for projects and other work. Finance can more easily provide regular updates on project costs, so we can look at total cost of project, maybe not just the labor that we're tracking in our project management solution. And also, if we get broader adoption across all work, across all parts of the organization, we really can enable real-time visibility into project and portfolio status really at a glance, at our fingertips at any given point in time. Essentially, this will allow executives and project managers to ensure that business results are really being achieved by the projects and the initiatives and the work efforts that we've committed to, and that we've taken on and that we're investing in. So a strong PPM solution will provide powerful business intelligence and reporting capabilities, really giving you a single source of the truth. Instead of having a variety of tools and artifacts that describe the totality of your projects and your work, why not have a central repository that is a single source of the truth and one version of the news? If you do that, we can actually provide as a natural output fully automated dashboards and reports which truly are push button. All you need to do is keep the data current, and the information in the slicing, the views, and the visibility, and just the slices that you want can be really at your fingertips. More accurate and timely information for management decisions about project investments, because we have that on a timely basis. We really have information that maybe allows us to make decisions while we still have a chance to affect change, not after the problem is already too deep where it's too late to really have any effect. And it also provides us insight into which projects require more oversight and control. So things that are falling out of bed, things with negative variances, things with bad indicators and health measurements can be brought under more scrutiny so they can be managed and brought home on a successful basis at the end of the day. So utilizing a PPM tool really enables more predictable processes to be implemented because you're doing it more consistently in a consistent manner. It also eliminates any unstructured data entry and management, meaning you're not having some folks doing things in free-form Excel or Microsoft Project or Word documents. We're really prescribing the methods that have a common format and some consistency based on the nature of the work that's being done. And really, there's a lot of PPM tools out there, but choosing the right PPM tool really allows tailoring of a tool to ensure that the tool matches the way your organization works or wants to work, not fitting your organization to the way the tool prescribes or forces you to work. The idea is to have some good best practices, but the flexibility to tailor it to the way you do work. So just a little bit about some of the expectations of what a PPM tool would be. And so what is EPM Live in the context of this PPM world? Well, as I mentioned before, we are a global leader and provider of these solutions, but really this comes not from a vacuum, and not as being a software company. We've been in PPM consulting since 1999, and working with hundreds and hundreds of clients and customers, we've really determined across a lot of different industries best practices and approaches that should be deployed in these types of solutions and the processes that surround them. Hence, we've been able to really create a lot of pre-built solution applications, meaning you can get these solutions up very quickly. We'll talk about this a little bit more, but instead of having to configure solutions from the ground up, we can actually start with a pre-configured base and then configure or tailor the deltas or the additions that a customer might need, the nomenclature they might want to put in to make it unique to their business. And also, we're very low risk because we have flexible deployment options, which I'll talk to you in just a moment. From a deployment options perspective, we really, across the board, one of the themes in EPM Live is this whole idea of the power of choice. Just from a deployment delivery mechanism of the solution, we offer this in both a SaaS model. We have more dedicated hosted models that folks could leverage, both online offerings where people can subscribe, and we can provide the IT and deliver the solution to them as a service. We also offer it as an on-premise service, meaning you can deploy it, you can buy the licenses on your own servers in-house. We also have a lot of folks that use an evolution of this, maybe starting online with a low-risk SaaS model, sign up, prove the traction, gain some ground, and then at some point move it on-premise. The idea is it's flexible, it's transportable, and it's really what model fits the best approach for you and your organization and your budgetary concerns and your IT policies. If you go cloud with us on more of an online model, we offer a power of choice here again. We have a standard shared multi-tenant SaaS model that folks can actually get onto very quickly. I mean, you can sign up with a credit card and actually start managing projects and works day one. We also have more dedicated environments with virtually dedicated types of environments for our customers, as well as physical dedicated. We have customers with many boxes physically in our data center that are hosting solutions for them. And depending on what your needs are and what the business rationale is, we can provide any of these approaches for you. So we have a lot of flexibility in the way we deliver the cloud-based service, as well as whether or not you want this online or on-premise in your own IT infrastructure. Another thing that really truly makes us unique, I think, is the idea of all work. Our belief is that work is everywhere in an organization, and especially when you get into the areas of resource management, unless you're accounting for all the work that's on someone's plate, you really can't manage their workload and bandwidth and just capacity to do all that work. Traditional PPM solutions in the past really dealt with the idea of the schedule and the Gantt chart and resource assignments being based upon how people are assigned to those tasks in their schedule. Well, even in a waterfall project like that, where people would do something, say Microsoft Project or some other waterfall planning tool, even in a waterfall project, the tasks that you're assigned in the Gantt chart may just be a fraction of the work that you're doing to successfully complete that project. You may have lower level to-dos and action items, things that don't rise to the level of a line item in your Gantt chart. You might have change requests. You might have issues that take you significant time and bandwidth to investigate and resolve. Other items in that mix really is legitimate workload that should be assignable, should be actionable, and really has to be fulfilled to successful completion in order to successfully complete the project. On top of that, there's a growing trend towards more iterative methodologies, Agile, Scrum, for example, where you're managing backlogs and user stories and defects and features, and then you're planning iterations or sprints, and you're time boxing and assigning work in that type of method to folks to do. And you may have a mix of waterfall projects and agile projects. So those items should be able to be included as work items in someone's total workload in the solution, and we do that at EPM Live. And then there's the whole idea of the unplanned work, maybe operational work, service requests, other things that are non-project related. Those types of requests should be able to be generated in a tool like this and then routed to the right people, assigned, and executed. So in our solution, you can really take as broad or as narrow a definition of work as you want to and deploy the areas that make the most sense for you. Because typically in organizations today, when you manage those different types of work, you have disconnected systems and processes. Not only do you potentially have different solutions and databases for these different types of work that are disconnected, you may have different processes in different parts of the organizations and different organizational silos that have put barriers between this. And if you ever want to pull together total workload, you have to, it's a construction project. You've got to pull that data together in a more manual basis. And the poor user who's got to actually fulfill on work on all this type of thing, the worker, might have to monitor and participate in 3, 4, 5 different systems in order to get the totality of their work and understand what's in there and provide the feedback that's necessary. So our concept is really a common funnel through a common solution, whether it be project work, whether it be agile work, backlog items, change requests, incidents, service desk requests. The idea is all that demand can come into a common solution. But even though it's a common solution, we can have different work streams, meaning we can have different business process, workflow, and paths for that work to follow from approval and routing, though it's all visible and reportable from within the same solution, meaning a resource can see all these different types of work that get put on their plate in one place. We can provide common reporting from a central repository on all this, yet accommodate the different procedural and process needs for each of these different types of work. The other important thing is to provide role-based access. Not everybody has the same need or interest in information and access to tools and capabilities. Whether you're an executive, whether you're a project manager, a resource manager, or a team member, the user experience and the things that you really have to have at your disposal and be able to deliver on may be different. And having role-based access to provide you the tools and the capabilities you need to deliver your work, yet still remain more heads down on the work rather than just feeding the tool and learning the tool, is something that's important to us, and we provide this type of role-based access and tools that add value to each of these roles. So if you think about all these different types of work, and you think about templates that we have for all these different work types, we provide these work features for you right within EPM Live. By the way, if you do have other systems of record already in place that are entrenched and those are generating work elements, we can actually integrate and pull those work items into the mix of all of our work items as well, so we can actually look at total workload and do analysis of all the work that's being put on people's plate, or, individually or across the organization. We also bundle these things into different applications. So even though project management is project management, there are different flavors depending on your industry and the nature of type of projects you're working on. Maybe traditional project portfolio management. Maybe the slant is more on new product development. Perhaps it's on professional services. The idea is there's little nuances and approaches and different aspects of that that could vary. And we can actually deploy these in different flavors for different audiences, or what we'll call communities later on in this presentation, so that you can address the needs of a variety of organizations and constituencies. But the idea here is that EPM Live will allow you to roll all this up, will allow you to have multiple portfolios, look at total portfolio visibility, look at all your schedule information, look at the aggregate resource information, both from a capacity planning and a detailed assignment basis, be able to do costs, whether they be budgets or actual costs, or maybe even projected and actual benefits that are realized in a project. Integrated time reporting, where people can report time on all work elements at whatever level of detail makes the most sense for the organization. And then work management, essentially being a place where an individual resource has one place to go to get all of their work, no matter what work types, no matter what projects. The key is we're pulling this all together into a common solution, so you really have a total project, portfolio, and work management environment. So from a traditional project portfolio management, which is really the more strategic top-down aspects of this, and EPM, enterprise project management, more of the tactical or execution side of things, we embody all of this. So if you look at this from the top down as an end-to-end process, the demand management piece, being able to capture requests, project requests, work requests, other types of demand, capturing that through a central funnel is inherent in what we're about. From a selection process, portfolio management to some may be just portfolio visibility into all the active projects so that we got our finger on the pulse of everything that's going on. To others, it really extends out to the full definition of portfolio management, where we want to do prioritization, we want to do ranking of projects, scoring, strategic alignment, do capacity plans, and do plans and budgets and financial commitments. The idea is that all of those types of things and what-if analysis in that selection process are things that we embody and provide tools to do. So you can take as simple or as complex a portfolio management process as you like within our tool set. But that selection process really is a funnel, and out of that funnel is going to come work. Some of that work could be more operational in nature, and some of it could be more project in nature. But the idea is that all of that work is going to have to be managed and executed to successful completion in order to be successful as an organization. So we have all the tool sets, whether it be schedules, resource costs, issues and risk, documents, change management, time and progress statusing, all the types of things that you would do against work. We have tools in there for you, and you can avail yourself of the ones that make the most sense. Also, because we're doing all this in a central solution with a central repository, all the business intelligence, the analytics, the dashboards, really is a natural output of the process, because we're building a rich set of data that we can then visualize and surface that data in a variety of forms and formats. And I would say this, though we have all these capabilities, we're going to talk about really scalability, and you do not have to deploy all aspects of this for your organization necessarily to get immediate value from the solution. The reason for that is that different organizations have different levels of project management maturity. You could call it organizational readiness, or even from an organizational perspective, different parts of the organization may only demand or require a certain level of maturity or rigor in their project and work management process. And the key is you want to be able to address the needs of these various levels of need. Even within a singular organization, different departments may be at different levels on this scale, and you might want to deploy the solution slightly differently for those audiences to meet their needs and make sure that it's sustainable, and also meeting their needs from a project and work management approach. To that end, we provide different tiers of our solution that are available for the organizations today. Lighter weight solutions, which is our Express edition, that provide basic web-based collaboration in a SaaS model and provides collaborative schedule and team collaboration, is available and very quick and easy to use. Our Professional edition really expands upon the tools that are in the Express edition, but adds resource management, portfolio visibility, time reporting, and overall work management, and being able to do various types of projects, whether they be waterfall or agile or just regular service request type of work. The idea is it's really a work execution tool across all types of work. And then we have our Enterprise Edition, which really takes everything that's in professional and adds to it the strategic top-down portfolio management tools. You know, the demand management intake and business cases, resource capacity plans at a high level, budgeting and cost planning, portfolio management, what if, enterprise governance, program management, those types of things. The idea is that depending on your need, you could deploy in different weights or different tiers of our solution in these different editions, depending on the readiness of your overall organization, or maybe slightly differently for different constituencies in your organization. So the Professional Edition really provides a full EPM or Enterprise Project Management solution for executing all projects and work. It does provide you portfolio visibility and access to the visibility to all of your projects and work efforts. It provides you automated roll-ups of all information, looking at things like all issues across all projects, being able to get access to all of your schedules and resource information, et cetera, et cetera. And really you can manage all types of work. You can manage traditional waterfall projects with our own project scheduling tool, our online planner, or we have a bidirectional integration with Microsoft Project if you want to use that. We also have our own Agile planner, so you can manage backlogs, iteration sprints, and then basically put time-boxed efforts and things together and manage those things in more of an Agile Scrum approach. And then just the ad hoc unplanned service work, things that you'd put in as work requests or work items that you'd assign people to. We also give resource management in this context where I can see at any given point in time how much is on anyone's plate or how much a department, say, is committed to, and look at what that means as far as my ability to deliver work according to my capacity and see if I'm over or underloaded at any given point in time. And we really provide a nice reporting solution and reporting database that allows you to render that data in a lot of different ways, using a lot of different tools, even your own reporting tools if you want to. The Enterprise Edition, as I had mentioned earlier on, really adds that top-down PPM or project portfolio management capability where we do more advanced portfolio selection and alignment. We do more resource capacity planning from the top down, like at the portfolio item level, in kind of FTE or generic-based planning potentially. Cost planning and budgeting, line item budgets that basically map out your cost categories and build up a total cost of that project based upon line item detail. And then using all that information in a what-if capability so that you can do what-if modeling, basically looking at your scoring and selection mechanisms, maybe looking at what's possible within your budgets and your resource constraints and saying, maybe if I didn't do these lower priority projects, we can fit it all in, or maybe we delay a couple of these projects out on a timeline and do those types of scenarios and see what is in the mix. And once again, all the things in our Professional Edition are all included with this as well. We also have the concept, as I alluded to a little earlier on, about pre-built applications, meaning different organizations and audiences may have different slants or approaches to the way they're doing work or projects. For example, a professional services organization may have different needs than, say, a new product development organization or an IT organization that's managing an application portfolio. The key here is that we have these different flavors and permutations pre-built, so you can actually simply, say, install them and then do maybe some slight configuration and modification to make it unique to you with your nomenclature and your approach. The key is you're not having to build these things from the ground up. And the net result to you as a customer is time to solution and cost to solution. I'm not suggesting here that we eliminate the need for services for you, but the old days, I've been in the project management systems business for a while, is you bought a solution and you configured it from the ground up with a fairly lengthy and fairly costly consulting services engagement. Our pre-built applications severely minimize the need for those services because instead of building it and configuring from the ground up, you have a very well-built, fully fleshed out solution that then you might add additional fields or metadata. You might add some values in a pull-down list. You might change some nomenclature. You might put in a workflow on an item. The idea is that the core of it is already pre-built for you so you can get the solution up quickly and at less cost. The key here is is anything you want in an enterprise project portfolio or work management solution is going to be rendered for you in a web-based manner and have access from anywhere that you have access to that environment. So some differentiators about us. Well, one of the things is I think the all work one platform, I think there's some messaging out there in the marketplace, but I think very few are executing it in a way that we are doing. So the idea, the potential to be able to have all work in one platform, it really is compelling. Possibly streamlining your processes, having everybody go to one solution to get their work done, but maybe more importantly, the potential to retire a solution or two that you have dedicated to just one type of work. The idea some of those solutions can be expensive, and the annual maintenance themselves might be able to pay for a migration to something like this. Also the pre-built apps and the templates. I think it's a really unique thing. I mean, obviously on our mobile phones with our small apps on, say, our iPhones, that concept, we're really taking PPM into that world. So pre-built apps and templates really gets us up quick, streamlines the process, and allows us to get going faster and more inexpensively. We also have a variety of support offerings which we're going to talk about a little bit. We really are into our customer success. And the idea, different ways to support them, different tools, different mechanisms, different avenues on the way that our customers can be supported. I think the breadth of it makes us unique in the marketplace. Also the ability that we can handle all users and all maturities. For example, there's a lot of lightweight tools out there in the marketplace for EPM and PPM or project management, but they have very low ceilings. The idea here is that you could start on our continuum from our Express, our Professional, our Enterprise editions, and start anywhere you're at today, but your ceiling is really at the very mature, very sophisticated portfolio management capabilities of our Enterprise edition, meaning that you can grow into that at your pace incrementally, and also maybe even deploy for different users simultaneously at different levels of maturity, yet still have it all in one common solution. And really the overall power to choose. Your deployment options, what scheduling tools you'd want to use, how you'd like to be implemented and supported, a variety of ways that you can choose the right experience for you. So the EPM pre-built applications is really delivered to our customers through what we call our EPM Live Marketplace. New with our new 4.3 version that was released this past month is the concept of our marketplace. And that marketplace really allows you to go into it and access these pre-built applications. Some of them are bundled full-fledged with multiple functionality. Some are more targeted, like things like status reporting. The idea is that our native apps, the ones that really are permutations of our EPM Live solution, are free. If you basically are a customer of ours and that you're at the right tier of the solution, you can install any of these that you want just for being a customer. We're not going to hit you up for modules and charge you for different things like that. The idea is we wanted to add value and make your EPM Live experience truly an all work management solutions experience for you. So to that end, our native applications are free. We are beginning to offer third-party apps that are utilities and other functionality that are optional, not required in our solution, that really brokers you and heads you out to our partner vendors so that you can maybe add these other aspects into our tool set. But the idea is that those are totally optional, and those could be for a fee, but our native ones that we deliver are not. So the concept here, analogous with our applications, is we've really introduced this concept of EPM Live communities. So for example, you may have different communities within your organization that have different needs. So the feature and function sets, the nomenclature, the processes and the workflow, the data, the metadata, whatever it might be different depending on the community that you're in. So here, for example, the projects community that's shown on the screen capture here, has project management type of functionality, projects, tasks, issues, risks, change requests, resource management, etc. But say you went into the, sales community, there might be the idea where we're working on opportunities that we're tracking, and those opportunities could potentially become projects later on, and they could be promoted into a project that then gets executed by the projects group. The idea is their needs may be different. So the idea here is we can have as many different communities to identify and describe the different constituencies that you have in your organization and meet the variety of needs that you have for functionality. In that end, we have a very flexible way to deploy. Now, it may not be hierarchical in this nature, but you don't have to deploy it one way for your organization. At that red level, where we might have business units or departments or different disciplines, you can actually have different standards, maybe their own portfolio of items that they can manage to their own standards and their own methods, yet still have the ability to potentially summarize, roll up, and provide visibility at that blue enterprise level at any time you want. The key is that we have so many flexible options on how to deploy. This is not customization in any way. It's really just a deployment consideration up front where we decide at the time you're going to deploy your solution. And getting with the times a little bit, people are getting more commonly, let's just say, comfortable with social media approaches, things like Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, etc. We're adding more and more social media-like communication capabilities within our tool. You know, things like threaded discussions, things like comment streams that you can actually have comments and collaborate with people on any task or project or work item in our solution. Or just notifications in a very Facebook-ish-like type of approach where, yes, we supplement these with email notifications, but being able to go to a singular list, see what I've been assigned to, maybe a workflow that requires my approval, et cetera, and be able to click on the notification and get right to that item and then be done with what it is you want to do. The key is we're really trying to change the way people communicate on their projects and augment what people have traditionally been doing in PPM solutions. From a support resources perspective, we have so many options for our resources. We have a very vast knowledge base of information that has articles and tips and documentation and all those types of things. We have a user forum. We have a library of videos that allow people to look at things about how to use our product. We have an online support request where you can either phone or log a support request right on our website. We also have an EPM Live University, which is our own new learning management system that allows people to get access to ongoing training materials and training videos and even live instructor-led training classes. The idea is there's a rich set of ways that people can be successful and be supported in deploying our solution. It's really all part of our customer success program where we really want to focus on the customer. We want to make sure that they have dedicated account managers, somebody that is their main point of contact from the time that they deploy all the way through supporting them post-implementation, meaning someone that knows them, knows how their system's been deployed, and knows their business requirements. There's a customer satisfaction rep that's going to be in touch with them to survey them, make sure that everything is going well and that we're delivering for them. Get in touch with them for health checks and make sure they have the latest updates and those types of things. And then we'll have personalized onboarding and training that's really tailored to the customer and the roles that are within those customers. So we really have a lot of touch points in where we really want to support our customers. And our support line is 24/7 for global coverage. The EPM Live University that I mentioned early on truly is a really rich set of learning management. The idea is that you could have instructor-led training classes that are online, that are really tailored towards specific topics in using our solution, both user-based and administrator-based. We have a library of videos that our subscribers can actually go and get videos on to do the how-to on a basic administration and other things like that at any given point in time. So the idea is that between that and some value-added things on just general project management, agile, other things that are in there, full access to these, the training is all part of our resources that are available to our subscribers and really helps people not only get trained initially, but then 6 months later, maybe they haven't used a feature or function, they have access to materials that they can go get a refresher on demand and find and refresh themselves on how things are done. So it's just some certain things about us as an organization that make us different. With that, I'll transition to going into our solution itself. All right. So here I am at a landing page for the EPM Live solution. I'm logged in as fictional user Steve Masters, and Steve comes to a landing page. Traditionally, he's in what we call the projects community, and accordingly, he's got these functional areas that are very project-related. Projects, portfolios, tasks, issues, documents, resources, reports, and risks have been added to this as well. Also on his homepage, he has very easy access to what his projects are. There may be a much larger portfolio, but the projects to which he's a member and to which he may be an owner of show up here right within his My Active Projects tool right here within his landing page. He can get access to any of the information on these projects at any given point in time. We'll talk about that in a little bit. He also has his own My Work area, where anything that's assigned to him, if you notice, there's all different work types, issues, to-dos, backlogs, tasks, other things that's actionable that you define in your system, all can show up here for him, no matter what project or non-project type of work it is. Also, he has a central place where he can simply either check the box and complete it, or he can light up the task and actually enter the things that you want him to, like percent completes or completion dates or whatever makes the most sense for you and your organization. Also, our concept of comments here. If you notice, there's a call out here that shows that there's 2 comments on this particular task. If he's collaborating on a task with someone, comment streams on this can actually help people communicate, not have these things offline in email or other media. So the idea is that they can follow an ongoing stream of dialogue on any project or work item within the solution. What's kind of nice about this is that even though this is available for a particular to-do or an issue or a task, Steve now has a comment stream here that actually goes and shows all the different comments that are here. And if you can see here, the printer one that I just showed you is here with a stream that shows a thread on that type of discussion. I can either enter it here in this comment and show in the thread on the comment stream, or if I replied here to this, and I could say, no, it was a model 447. And the idea here is that you can actually enter these things here and then post them and then actually have them show up on the other end. So the key is there's collaborative functionality there that's available to you at any given point in time. Also, the whole idea of notifications. I had mentioned the more Facebook-ish like notification capabilities. Notice there's assignments I'm being notified of, things that require updates that require my approval. And the idea here is I can go right to these items, right from these notifications, get to the active part of it, and go into them and complete the task that's required of me, or status the item that's made available to me. Now, if I wanted to look at an overall set of projects, our projects area is really a project center or a list of all the projects. What's nice about this is that you can have as many different views of this as you like. We provide a bunch out of the box. Now here it's looking at a filtered view that's showing just my projects again. But let's say I wanted to look at an executive summary, and it might be a list of projects that is a little broader than the ones that I'm just involved in. The idea here is these views, that you can have as many of them as you want. They can actually be filtered, grouped, and sorted in any way you want. So the idea here, I might be by the state of the project proposed versus active, and then by the classification of the type of project. And then it defines the fields or the KPIs or the data elements that I want to see as part of a particular view. If I wanted to see something in a more of a cost-oriented view, I could go into something like that and then look at more cost-related data regarding these and drill into the details of this project at any given point in time. We also have other information that's in other forms and formats rather than this kind of listing type of view. For example, from a traditional portfolio management perspective, we could look at our portfolio from a bubble chart perspective. And it's flexible. We can actually choose, for example, what project types and which phase they're in this case, are going to be included. We could choose what our X and Y axis data elements are going to be, what's going to generate the size of the bubble, what field of data that'll be, et cetera, and be able to analyze where things fall on our bubble charts. It's a highly flexible thing that we've added here for people to be able to get in and do that. Also, just from a dashboard perspective, instead of just objective data like we're seeing here, we might want some more graphics included. So for example, what if I wanted to look at a quick status dashboard? Now these dashboards we provide out of the box, but they're all configurable. These charting web parts are all configurable. So the idea here is I might have some status information on the projects that talk about overdue tasks and overdue budgets and how many overdue issues we have, and then graphics with key metrics about your projects in that portfolio. And possibly a list down below here. This example is showing a list of all overdue tasks we have on all the different projects that are being combined in here. The idea here is this is a flexible project center that allows you to look at your projects in a variety of different ways. Also, if you look at any one of these projects, if I come into a project here, there's all kinds of data that you can keep about these particular projects. And some of it may have happened when you initiated the project, some of it as you flush it out. But the idea here is I might potentially have, let me go and open this up for editing. I may have fields of data down below here that do things more than just characterize dates, durations, and who's in there. What I might be doing is also scoring this project. For example, I might be scoring on 4 metrics here: strategic alignment, cost reduction, employee satisfaction, and risk. Now, if you have methods you're using in a spreadsheet today and formulas that you're using, this could just as easily be yours. And what's nice about this is each of these categories has their own selections or ratings, each of which behind is numeric scoring. Each of these selections might generate a numeric score, and each of these categories may carry their own weight. So these selections will actually result in a weighted score for your project. If I go back to the portfolio, on these projects, as well as calculated things like ROI, etc. So the idea is that we can actually have rankings and scorings on our projects that are very comprehensive. Now, when you're building these projects, for example, there may be things you want to do to them. Say on these proposed projects, I have this new proposed project called Strategic Merger Evaluation. One thing I might want to do is identify the resource requirements that are needed on here, long before I have a schedule involved where I have tasks assigned. This is where we can do resource capacity plans. A resource capacity plan might allow me to say, for example, let me look at all my generic resources down below, and let's say for this particular project, I need a project manager I'll start with. So I'll drag the project manager up here, and I have a project manager generically that I say I'm going to need for this. And then potentially I'm going to allocate the values for this project manager. So I might say, you know, if I want to do this in FTEs or hours or whatever it might be, let me say, I'll need to do it in hours here. I'll say I need 80 hours copied over this period, and now all of a sudden I've got a half-time effort roughly for a project manager across this duration of this project. And then I could plan this in FTEs if I wanted to, or hours. Now the key here is that I might plan all my roles and the resource ask of the different types I need. I might need an analyst, a DBA, etc. The idea is I can build an individual resource capacity plan at this high level, at this portfolio item level. And then at the appropriate time, I can actually select this resource and say, find me a match. Find me resources that can actually fulfill that project manager role, and also show me the remaining availability. Here I see that Eli Bowen is somebody that's a good match and has availability during this time frame. So what I can do then is I can actually drag Eli up onto the project manager role, and it's going to ask me, do I want to replace or fulfill, meaning I can turn either by replacing that generic assignment into a named individual, or maybe I might want to fulfill this requirement with more than one resource. So if I say fulfill, it's going to say, here's my overall project manager requirement. I'm going to fulfill it all with Eli Bowen. Or what if I wanted to then share responsibility on a role? I could take somebody like Joe Brown here, drag them up onto this assignment, and say, let me split it. And it'll automatically split that total requirement for project manager across those two. Instead of doing this cell by cell on spreadsheets, it's a very good way on a project by project basis to really do generic resource planning at a capacity plan level, and also fulfill and figure out who specifically is going to do this. And through process and permissions, we can actually have this be done as a byplay between a project manager and a functional manager who's actually going to give you the named specific individuals. The key here is that if you do this on all of your portfolio items or your projects, you're going to get a lot of good information about your resources in this project management system. For example, if I selected all of the proposed and active projects in here, and I went to, say, our resource analyzer, you're going to see here that let me there we go. So essentially what we have here is now all the projects, the resource requirements in all the projects, and then an aggregation of what this means from a resource perspective down below, where people are over or under allocated based upon this mix of projects. Now we can total this differently. This could be rolled into the different roles or different skill sets that folks are looking at, but I now get aggregate information on what this means and what these detailed assignments are meaning. We could drill into more of this at another time. The same thing holds true on projects if I wanted to build a budget. If I was looking at a potential or active project and I wanted to edit costs, I have a very detailed cost model, say budgets with the cost categories that are important to you. We have some ones like this that are out of the box, but if you have specific cost categories that you manage to today, we can have this and track budget, we can track actuals against those categories. We can plan on return or benefits that we're going to have as we do on this and on a time phase basis. And we can even collect timesheet actuals in here from our timesheets to allow you to see what the actual burn rate on the labor is that you're doing across these projects. But you can have a variety of different cost types in here to manage different flavors of cost within that. And then if I go look at, a mix of projects again, and I go look at the cost analyzer, the same type of approach, but from a cost perspective, is going to come in here, and then I can see whether or not I'm over or under budget based upon the nature of the projects that I have here. If I deselect projects, for example, it's going to then change the totals down below based upon what I select up here. Another key piece in here is the ability to do our modeler. If we have project types defined, we have resources, we have costs, we can go into the modeler and look at that same selection of projects and actually go in and look at all of those projects and actually apply targets. So for example, if we could apply, say, our current budget target, we can then see if this total mix of projects that's in this mix really fits within that target. And then I could do things like saying, geez, what if I took and deselected some of the lower priority projects? Does that help? Well, it helps a little bit. What if I took a project here and then decided to move it out in time? Does that provide us some relief? It does provide us some help. And the idea is we can start saving versions and scenarios of these things so that we can actually get an idea of what's possible or what our alternatives are to get the work done or which work we should include or exclude. Another key piece is the project planning piece. The idea here on a new project like the strategic merger evaluations, when I'm first creating a brand new plan, if I say edit plan, I have options. Once again, this power of choice concept. I can choose whether to use Microsoft Project, our Project Agile Planner, or EPM Live's own Project Planner in order to do this. Once we select one of these tools and start building the plan, we can make that planner the default planner for this project, and the idea is we can have a power choice. Now, all of our projects can be done using whichever planner you want. You don't have to pick one for all your projects. It could be a variety of them, depending on the nature of the project. For example, this feature request database was done using our online waterfall planner. So if I click on Edit Plan for that, it's going to open this up in a totally web-based planner. We provide this scheduling tool so that you don't have to buy a separate scheduling tool if you don't want to. It does what 90% of the users in a Microsoft project or other tool would do. It allows you to build hierarchical task structures. It allows you to put dates and durations and resource assignments and dependencies on it. It allows you to baseline plans and then track status against them. So the idea, all the things that you would do are right here in the browser, and it comes with our tool. So here's our hierarchical plan. Notice you can indent and outdent tasks. The data in here, the durations, the dates, the start, the finish, the assigned to. We also provide a central resource pool. So from your project team, you can actually assign your resources to varying degrees. We also have the concept of edit team. So if you're an organization that has a large resource pool and you don't want to deal with that whole list of resources every time you assign a resource to a task, here's the total resource pool, but here's the only people on the team that I assigned. If I select people and add them to the current team, I can also choose what level of permissions or what level of access I want to give that person for this particular project. The key here is we've got this information at our fingertips. And then any of the data or metadata we want to look at around our projects is available to us at a glance. We can look at all the detailed data on any task. I can look at my resource assignments. I could either have them evenly distributed, or I could actually have an uneven distribution of the workload. I have all the major dependency types with or without lags. So the idea is that all the basic stuff that you'd want to do in a waterfall planning tool is available to you right here. And the idea is that when you get done planning, you save and publish this, and it's now made available to you in our solution. Another project that was in here was done using Microsoft Project, using our bidirectional integration. So this Xbox DVD project, if I edit the plan, it was actually done here in Microsoft Project. Our project publisher is a free add-in that comes with our solution that allows you to take this planning and actually push it out to our solution on the web. And the idea is that all these details can be made available to you in a more collaborative environment than this desktop tool. The key here is that as people make changes and updates and get assignments from here in their My Work area, as they provide updates, the project manager who's in Microsoft Project can actually check for updates from their team, and they delivers these updates to them so that they can open it and review and see, there's timesheet hours that are coming in against this. I can accept this, and it will actually apply those updates to the Microsoft Project Plan without me rekeying that information in any way. So the net result on this, if I look at this, I think one of the beauties here, if I select the Xbox DVD project, we have this concept of associated items. Depending on to what degree you deploy items within this solution, you could have as broad or as narrow a group of associated items in here as makes sense. But for example, here, Xbox DVD has backlog, issues, documents, risks, and tasks. For example, in this task center, even though I built this project plan in Microsoft Project, when I published it out, it made available to me the full schedule here right in our web-based environment in EPM Live. And just like our portfolio, we can have as many different views of this schedule as we want. With different columns, different filtering. Filtering, you might want to go in here and just say, let me just see the milestones on this particular schedule. The key is it was generated in Microsoft Project, but here it is in the web. The same holds true with our online planner. If we went into that feature request database that was done in our online planner, if I go to the task center for that, you'll see the same rendering. It didn't matter which tool we used to actually build our plan. The net result of it in the solution is going to be exactly the same. We also have our Agile Planner for those folks that are going to do Agile work. So, for example, if I go to the Surface Tablet software project and I say Edit Plan, it's going to open up our Agile Planner for that because that was done in a more agile fashion. And what's nice about this, it allows you to plan your project in iterations or sprints, allows you to manage backlog, and allows you to slot backlog items into specific iterations or sprints to be managed in those time box fashions that we're typically used to doing in Agile. So here, notice that this Surface Tablet software has already been broken into 2 iterations. We could add a new iteration if we wanted to, and then make iteration number 3, for example. We could add tasks into that. Or in a view, we could actually go and say, let's show the backlog for this particular product or project. In this case, notice I've got user stories, I've got defects, I've got features, whatever it might be. And we can do points or hours or a combination of both in these types of things, where I could sit there and say, you know, I've got a points capacity on this iteration of 50 points. I've used up an estimated 40 points with the items I've already slotted into this iteration. I got an available 8 hours of points. So let's say for example, I had power shuts off when hot. Let's say I made that 4 points. and I want to leave it at that. I can take this item, I can drag it up onto this iteration, and it'll add it to the mix in here and actually then reduce my available points down to 4. And I can, at this point, assign resources to this for completion of these tasks. And these agile-based types of tasks will show up in this user's My Work just as it would of any other work type that's in the solution. So once again, the power of choice on the planning tools and the methods that you'd want to use. And for example, if I was going to go into the Xbox DVD and say, show me all the issues for the project, these associated items very quickly get me access to all the items regarding the projects. And I have access to go in and open, edit, and look at the details. Another key piece in here is the idea of managing portfolios. You could have any number of portfolios for your projects. And you could use this for portfolio management, for program management, etc. Instead of it just being a piece of metadata, for example, I could go in and say, show me the product innovation portfolio. And I say, show me all the projects associated with that portfolio. And then I can go and say, all right, here's all the projects that are associated with that portfolio or that program. And I can look at the totality and the roll-up of these and see what the totals are and the metrics are on all these. So once again, portfolio management and program management gets enhanced. And not only that, these are not just metadata, these are entities. I can put budgets, I can put resource plans, schedules against the portfolio item itself, not just the participating projects. Another key thing is here on the resource side of things. I showed you the resource capacity planning and the resource analyzer. But if I looked at the resources area, we do maintain a central resource pool in our solution. This is where we can build our teams from, et cetera, et cetera. But for example, if I wanted to select resources from a particular department or a group of people, and I wanted to show detailed assignments, our assignment planner really gets an idea of what have we really committed and assigned to these people. And I could do it for one person, I could do it for a group of people. So before I assign them to yet another piece of work, I can see where they're over-allocated. Now, I can look at Adam Barr's work, and I can see Adam looks like he's over-allocated. He's working at a rate of 30 hours a day, according to the plan here, which can't be done, where Alice is working at a much lower pace and well within her capacity. I could actually open these up, and I can actually assign them to other resources. I could possibly say, you know, we need to defer this piece of work out because Adam has to do it, and I could actually change his workload. And I can use this assignment planner to kind of level out my resources and determine whether or not I need to reassign work or see if this person's already overloaded before I even get them yet another piece of work. So the key is we have tools at a detail level to analyze those types of things as well. We're getting down to the end of the hour. I would just say from a reporting perspective, really check this out. We have all kinds of ways to surface data. We have very flexible charting web parts which you as the user can configure to pull in different data types and different chart types. We have listing reports where we can go look at projects and do things like say, you know, show me, oh, I don't know, a project dashboard for this particular group of projects. And here I can do some selections and have full dashboards for the projects, etc. The idea here is that we can configure dashboards and listing reports in a variety of fashions to get you the metrics and the data you want, though we provide you this whole library of them right out of the box for you to start with. If I want to look at SQL reporting services reports, I can do all kinds of flexible things for publishing. So for example, on a project status report, I could very easily say, show me a project status summary for a particular project. And if I pick a project here and apply it, it will actually run it in the viewer here. And I could have whatever categories, KPIs, schedule, cost, overdue tasks, milestone completion, active issues. And then these can be run on a scheduled job basis even, and then exported in common formats like PDF, etc., for distribution to folks that need to have reports pushed to them. So a lot of options in here as far as reporting that you can explore with us. I would say this, the concept of communities is alive. The project community might have project-oriented types of things in here, but you might have a different community, like I might say product development is a different community in this organization. And this product development group may have a different set of functionality, like product roadmaps, competition, product lines, products efforts and releases that are projects. So the idea is that it could be a different user experience. Professional services organization maybe have more functionality on things like accounts and documents and billings and sales and other things like that. So the idea here is that you can all have this in a common solution, but have it all rolled together into a common framework. With that, I would like to start wrapping up. If you want to contact us, you can always visit us at epmlive.com or email us at info@epmlive.com or call us at the toll-free number you see on here. If you want to ask me any questions directly, feel free to contact me at jpatterson@epmlive.com. I'm happy to entertain any questions that you might have if you haven't gotten them answered from our moderator today. But the key thing here is you can try it out yourself. If you go to epmlive.com, you can request a free trial. The idea, whether it's the Express, Professional, or Enterprise, you request a free trial. We can provision you, get you into a demo environment, and actually have you work with the things that I showed you here today. We're here to support you, answer any questions you have, and make the experience as applicable for you as we can. So feel free to try us out, give us a test drive, and I think you'll see that it's both easy to get started and easy to execute on these. With that, I appreciate your indulgence on a little extra time. Ran a little over the hour, but it was my pleasure meeting with you today, and have a great day.